Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about. And tonight we have Dr. Kenneth Fowler, who is no stranger to Conversations with Nicole, and we will be talking about holiday stress. But before I bring him on, I want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on the Greater Works Network on RokuTV. So if you will, in the comments, enter your city and state so that we can give you a shout out. Type in your city and state in the comments so we can give you a shout out. So holiday stress. This is I think a very needful topic as Christmas is rolling around. We're already into Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's, whatever you celebrate during this time of year. So we need to know how to deal with some of the stressors associated with the holidays. We do these lives at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Mondays and Wednesdays in an effort to eliminate the stigma around counseling and therapy and encouraging folks to get their checkup from the neck up. So hopefully you will be enlightened and contribute to this conversation. This is an interactive live, a safe space for us to express ourselves. So we fully expect to hear from you tonight. All right, we got Miss Shanovia Paul. Shanovia Monique was on last week. Thank you for being here. Happy Wednesday from Tally Ho. We got Mr. Ontario Rashard. Yes, from he's in Oklahoma, but from Tally. So thank you for being here. My sister Shayla down in Broward County, and Dr. Michael Jones from Brooksville. Glad to be here to support your show. And Dr. Fowler, yes, thank you, Dr. Jones. Looking forward to you being on next month as we talk around sports psychology. So, all right. Well, others will be joining us shortly, but you all who are here, tag a friend, let them know they need to be on with us to engage in this conversation. I'm going to move right along and read a little bit of Dr. Ken's bio. He came to Florida in 1988 to pursue his undergraduate degree from the Florida State University. Upon receiving his Bachelor's of Science degree in economics with a minor in business, he went on to pursue a master's in mental health from the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And he also went on to receive his doctorate in marriage and family therapy from Florida State. He is a licensed mental health counselor and an approved supervisor for mental health counselors, marriage and family therapists, and social work. So he's got a lot of experience. This bio goes on and on and on, but I will tell you that he is very extensively trained and equipped in trauma. He's dealt with, he has expertise in psychological trauma. He specifically worked in New York City during the 9/11 attacks. He's been called to assist with Hurricane Katrina disaster, as well as consulting with U.S. Armed Forces and working with returning soldiers and their families dealing with the effects of PTSD, which is post traumatic stress disorder. So again, the list goes on and on, but just know that he is a down to earth brother that knows his stuff, and I'm just so glad that I know him, and I'm just glad that he's here with us tonight. I think this is like his third time this year. I'm when I was looking back over my post, and I was like, man, I got Dr. Ken on 3 times in 2022. I'm doing it, boy. This is it. Yes. So anyway, y'all help me welcome Dr. Ken Fowler.
Well, hello. How's everybody?
Hey,
Um,
hey.
it's good to see you.
Good to
Glad
see
to
you
be here.
too.
I'm in Atlanta right now, headed to Dallas to see my family, but
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
glad I could coordinate. I was breaking some laws getting here, but I got
Oh my
here.
gosh, no, please don't break no laws. I know conversations with Nicole is important, but we want you to get there legally and safely.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. So tell the people who may not know you, who is Dr. Ken Fowler? Not what you do, but who are you?
I am a guy from Dallas, Texas, born and raised. I grew up in a family of 2 older brothers, 1 younger sister. Parents who were very loving, and you grow up in a house, and you know, I thought I was middle class, and then when I came back to visit and I was more adult, I was like, this is a 2 bedroom, 1 bath house. How do we have 6 people in here? And I felt like we were living large. So
Hmm.
um, I always try to tell people that it's really about what's in the house versus the house. And
Yeah,
so I was raised in a family that was showed unconditional love, and we weren't perfect, but we were definitely a family that was embracing and embraced others, and allowed others to come into our circle. And so I've tried to recreate that same aura and persona in my own life with my family and friends. And so thank you all, friends and colleagues who are tuning in. Um, I'm glad to be here.
indeed, indeed. Well, we are glad to have you and looking forward to this conversation. So, um, before we dive in, though, I got to read my disclaimer since I have a licensed clinician on. I don't want anybody to mistake this for therapy.
Yes, no.
Yes. So, all topics, past, present, and future, on Conversations with Nicole are for informational purposes only, and they are not to be used as a diagnosis for treatment or an answer to any personal issues related to the topic being discussed before, during, or after the program. So tell the folks a little bit about your business in terms of the name and who you serve and
My
all of it.
business,
Yes.
my my business is called Systemic Effects,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason I chose that name is because being a marriage and family therapist, we deal with we look at families as a system. Anything that happens in that family system, everyone's impacted by it. We may exhibit different behaviors, we may have different responses, but we're all impacted. And what happens in families and in relationships, we get into particular dances. And how people end up in my office is that they end up in a dance of what I call a dance of dysfunction.
Mm.
And so we start doing the same dance, and we don't realize that both of us are participating in that dynamic existing in our relationship. And
Yes.
so I thought, I'm looking at the systemic effects of families, of businesses and agencies when I go and do consulting with the military or consulting with the city of Tallahassee. I'm also one of the therapists for FSU athletics department, and so I work with all the athletes, helping them in that regard. Because what the cities recognize, what the athletic departments recognize, is that what impacts you at home inevitably will impact you at work or at school. And
Mhm.
so helping people, treating the whole person, can help people get better. And so my business, I do individual, couple, family therapy with adults and children. I do. That's about a third of what I do. Another third is where I'm a certified traumatologist. So I work with traumatized individuals, rape survivors, attack survivors, incest, natural disasters, terrorist attacks. It doesn't have to be something that horrific. I've had people traumatized from divorce, breakups, pet loss, near accidents, embarrassing childhood moments growing up. And so trauma is a unique and individual situation. And the other third is where I do training and consulting with businesses and agencies. And so that's my business. I've been seeing clients since 1999. It's 23 years. It'll be 24 for next year. So um, I love what I do. Sometimes I feel like I'm cheating, so I know everyone doesn't get to feel that way about the work they do, but I get that blessing and privilege.
Nice. Now, are you accepting new clients?
I am.
Okay.
I try to fit clients in where I can. And so I always give a disclaimer, I don't take insurance. And so a lot of times people call me and they're like, you take CHP or you take it doesn't mean I don't have clients who have insurance. A good number of my clients do. If you have Capital Health Plan, which is in Tallahassee, they don't reimburse for anything. So I'm just upfront with those clients. And so some of them will say, well, we don't care. We're going to pay out of pocket. Other people who have like Blue Cross, Aetna, United, I have a receipt that I can give the client that has a diagnosis code and a procedure code on it. And you can submit that to your insurance company yourself, and they give you a portion of what you paid back. And so you have to work that out with your insurance carrier, and you have to call them. And when they play like they've lost it, then you got to send them another copy and you got to play the insurance game. But I just don't have the time to do that. So that's why I don't take insurance and get involved.
Understand. All right. So we got a few more folks chiming in. Latressa saying hello, Dr. Kenneth Fowler.
Hey,
yes, we got Glenn from Augusta, Georgia. We got Michael Cork saying, what
What's
up,
Mike?
Yep. Shinovia said, run to website. Dr. Ken is in high demand.
Oh, thank you.
All right. We got David Williams on. How do you get that document for your clients?
Which document?
Yeah, I don't know, David. Which document are you referring to? Let us know.
Oh, I know what you're saying. He's probably talking about the receipt. When they come to see me, instead of just a regular, let's say they use a credit card and credit card receipt, I have a receipt that has my EIN number for my business. It has a diagnosis code and a procedure code.
Okay.
And so when you leave, or some people get at the end of each month, and I'll just put your sessions on there, and then you just submit it to the insurance company.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's dive in. Holiday stress. This is interactive, so we might have questions for the viewers.
Well,
hold on one moment. David wants to know, did you create it yourself? David is a clinician here in Tallahassee, so I think he's trying to get some.
Yes, I did. And doing this so long, it's funny because the insurance companies will reject, and they'll say, oh, well, we don't have his business EIN. And so I added that. And then they were like, just every 3 or 4 years, they'll just change the code on something for no apparent reason.
Gotcha.
And so then they'll start rejecting because they're playing the numbers game. They're like, if we change the code and we reject a claim, there are about 30% of the people who won't follow up with that. They'll just let it go. So they save money that way.
Right.
So, but my clients know, hey, they rejected this code. I'll say, okay, I'll do some research, find out what the accurate code is, change it, give them a new receipt. I have no love for the insurance company. So I'm going to help clients get reimbursed. I mean, you pay money into it all your life, and then when you go to use it, they make it difficult, which I just find reprehensible. But.
Right. So no insurance, but he is accepting new clients. So check him out. All right. So let's dive in. Holiday stress. What is there to be stressed about as it relates to holidays?
Well, I wore my red shirt to be festive and try to be in the holiday spirit, and we all look forward to. Well, some of us look forward to the holidays.
Yeah.
For everyone, it's not a fun-filled time. And there's lots of expectations that come along with the holidays. And so when you have kids that are like, okay, I hope we're going to have a good Christmas. Well, what's a good Christmas look like? Or a good
Okay, hold
holiday?
on, y'all. So in the comments, what's a good Christmas look like? In the comments, let us know. Type it in. What's a good Christmas look like? I know these are adults, but what what does that look like for you all viewers? In the comments, let us know. Trisha said the Grinch is getting much attention.
Yeah, sure enough. You know, and some people are hoping somebody breaks in the house so they have a reason to tell the kids why it's only a few gifts under there. But you know, it's and even adults. There's some people who are big on gifts, and that's not to say that that's a negative. I mean, because that's a love style. One gift giving is a love style, and so and trust are like, yeah, fun, family, and rest. That's what I love. If I can be around family and having some fun and resting and laughing and sitting back, you know, at my house, you know, usually after, you know, some champagne has gone on, then karaoke breaks out, you know,
All
with my
right.
wife. And so
Gotcha.
it's
Shanovia said food and memories.
yeah.
Michael Jones, faith, family, food, fun. Michael
That's,
Cork at 50, waking up is good.
yeah. Yeah. You just don't move as fast, but you do wake up. Yeah.
Right. Porsche said quality time with family, reflecting on good memories and looking at old photos.
Yeah.
Okay. Camellia, sunrise and breakfast at the beach. Yes, ma'am. Nap and visit a couple of friends.
There you go.
All right. My sister Shayla said creating fun family memories. Trisha, family gather, family buys. Love it. Peaceful gatherings. Tracy Gole. Good music. I love watching my kids open gifts. Nice. Spades.
Yeah.
Spades.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you do get whooped, you know.
Even if you get whooped, it's okay. Quality time with the kiddos. Marjorie, thanks for being here. Movies, Christmas stroll, food, and having them say why they are thankful. Love it.
Man, that's a good
Okay.
thing.
Okay. All right.
And
So you were saying,
so this expectation, yes, lots of football, Mike, definitely.
right, it
Uh,
Go
little
ahead.
shade of Tressa there. But what happens is that, and I say to people, the number one source of unhappiness is having unrealistic expectations
Mm-hmm.
because you're always going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And so setting your expectations in a realistic level keeps you from being so disappointed. I'm not saying you got to be like, okay, well, you know, if I get one gift, that's okay, you know. But for the what I say to a lot of adults, I'm like, the gift giving part is really for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I know lots of couples that just say, we're not exchanging gifts
Yeah.
for the adults. I mean, because you know, we all work, we have most of what we want, you know, we're just not going to do it. Or, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we're going to exchange one gift or something. And so it kind of takes the pressure off that, okay, let me find 5 good gifts for my spouse, or let me,
Mm-hmm.
or, you know what, we're spending money on the kids and we're traveling. And now we have this other expense that I'm expected to get gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that financially makes sense for you all?
Right.
With your kids, does it really make sense to go into $10,000 worth of debt and spend the rest of the year paying it off and then repeating that cycle because now it's November again and you're going into debt even more? And so the other things you have to take care of end up being still of a priority, and now you've overextended yourself.
So, excuse me, I do a segment on Michael Cork's show on the Hallelujah Morning Show on Mondays at 8:45, and I talked about money and mindset on Monday, and I gave a little bit of a additional tips And I said that more debt does not mean more happiness.
Oh yeah.
And
And
so
you'd be surprised.
come up with a savings plan throughout the year such that you'll have money
Hmm.
designated for holiday spending.
Yeah. There are people in $1 million homes who are spending right up to the dollar that $1 million. And so
Mhm.
and really are living check to check, and you're like, oh, look at all that. And it's like,
Mhm.
you have too many sick days, you're gonna be stressed.
Mhm. Well, Latressa said it's actually stressful to receive gifts because I might have to pretend to be happy about it.
There is that. I mean, kids are a little more honest. Kids could
Mm.
look at it and be like, all right, appreciate it.
Right.
You know, it's like,
Right.
oh yeah, you didn't like. No, Fowler family does not spend 10,000. That no sir, that's not happening.
Marjorie said, I know mothers who are overextending themselves and their credit for gifts. I'm not doing it because they have an abundance of things. They are just as excited spending time together.
Absolutely,
It's great when you discuss family goals with the kids so they understand the plan. They are okay.
absolutely. And and
Hmm.
and it's nothing wrong with saying, hey, this is what we're going to do because financially we don't want to um, spend too much. So I know when you were younger, you had 8 to 10 gifts. This year, we're going to have 3 gifts each, you know, and just, and so they'll go through, why, but you just have them understand that, the true essence of this holiday season is not about getting stuff.
Hmm.
We really miss that. It's really about service.
Yeah.
It's about helping people. It's about sharing love and kindness and take your kids down to the shelter and help serve food.
Mm.
um find a family that's struggling and try to sponsor them if
Yeah.
you're affluent enough to be able to do that.
Hmm.
Those kind of things are far reaching and last a long time, and your impact. I always ask people, what's going to be your impact on this world? And
Yeah.
so um, and it takes your stress down. I mean, you're
Hmm.
just like, okay, okay, I'm getting the exhale. If you know that it's a stressful thing for you on the holidays, you have to first figure out what's causing the stress.
Yeah.
So,
Avi said, Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving always feels better. It's all about love and food.
mhm.
Hmm.
and and the stress is different for each person.
Right.
You may be the person who does all the cooking, and so everyone's just gotten used to you doing all the cooking, so no one helps you or no one tries to assist you. And
Hmm.
so because you've always done it and you feel good about giving, but then it wears you out and stresses you out, then you may have to back up and say, I need to let somebody help me.
Right.
I need to I need to delegate some of these dishes to people that I trust. I mean, I know you don't want food out of everybody's kitchen, but
Mm.
you know, you you but you delegate and take some of the stress off yourself.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. All right, Shanovia said, I've learned when I get my son the one big thing he wants, the rest is really for me. Once I took the emotions out of multiple gifts, Christmas shopping became easier.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a great idea.
And my kids are more interested in getting cash.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, well,
yeah, cash works.
yeah, we'll
As
see. We'll see
Cousin
about
said,
that.
I love cooking and talking trash with my cousin. Yeah.
Yes. But my wife and Tressa throw down in the kitchen.
Okay,
So
nice.
we love to have them in Tallahassee whenever. They have an open invitation.
Nice, nice,
So
nice. Yeah, so me and my mom typically cook, and it's a great bonding time for us to
mhm.
just talk about various sundry things. So
Well,
it's
that's
not
awesome.
stressful at all, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another part that makes holiday stress pretty substantial is that it's also a time when we slow down enough
Mm-hmm.
that people we love who are no longer here, their
Mm-hmm.
absence is more highlighted.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so that's a tough thing for folks that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, I tell people when you lose a loved one who's very close to you, um, you go through 365 days of grieving.
Mm. Yeah.
And what happens is that people will say, you know, well, it's been 3 months. They still struggling? And it's like, okay, let's say you're 40 years old and you lose your mother. You had her in your life for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all tell me what's the amount of time to get over 40 years of someone being instrumental in your life being gone?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll wait because
Okay, so y'all, I don't know if y'all heard that. So Dr. Ken wants you to, in the comments, let us know how long should it take you to get over somebody who is no longer with you that was instrumental in your life? How long should it take? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? How long should it take? In the comments, let us know.
it is
My sister said it never goes away at all.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell people you never, and I'm glad you used that terminology, get over, because a lot of people think in that way.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get over a
Yeah.
loss? And there is no timeline. You're right, Trisha. There is no timeline for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you never get over a great loss. You just learn to live with it and incorporate it in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
And so grief is like standing with your back to the ocean.
Mm.
And sometimes there are big, huge waves that knock you to your knees. And sometimes there's waves that just hit you right at your ankles.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we just have to keep getting up, regardless of
Right.
the wave.
Absolutely. That's a great analogy.
And so the holidays sometimes are very painful for people when that
Mm-hmm.
person's been really a center point of the family. And
Indeed.
so I encourage people that, for a year or two, you can you don't have to continue to do the same routine.
I was thinking about that prior to coming on here, because maybe some of those traditions that we did with particular loved ones and it's painful in their absence to continue those traditions. So maybe you start a new tradition.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention this one because Trisha's nephew was killed violently
Oh man, I'm
here
so
in
sorry.
Tallahassee this year. And so she said, we are dealing with this year. Christmas will be bittersweet after losing my nephew. My sister will never be the same.
Oh yeah,
This was her
it's
sister's son.
we try not to rank loss when we talk about it therapeutically, but
Mm-hmm.
if we were forced to rank it, losing a child is right there at the top.
Yeah, for sure. My sister said our uncle has been gone for 8 years and been celebrating holidays with us since forever to me, and it still is a void. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. And his birthday was Monday. He would have been 71.
Wow.
Michael Cork, having lost my parents and grandparent, holidays are tough. It never goes away, but you learn to appropriate the feelings by living the life you have to the fullest and loving who's left. I like that. Loving who's left.
Absolutely.
Yes. And Dr. Jones dealing with death of a loved one when the brain is willing and ready to use it as a strength instead of a struggle. The remembrance is always there. Have to turn it to a positive lifestyle.
One of the things that I appreciate that, Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
One of the things that I say to people is that, oh yeah, shoot, those late hours
Mm-hmm.
hitting that Friday after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Um, One of the things I say to people is that when we first start grieving, the the circumstances surrounding their death takes up 99% of our thought process and grieving process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's shocking, it catches us off guard, it's painful. But as you grieve and you go through your grief process, that starts to take up less of the memory, and the fruitful life that they lived
Mm-hmm.
starts to be the majority of your memory.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you're getting to a place moving and grieving and healing.
Mm-hmm.
Because man, we're, we're really we're really not allowing the full breadth of their life to be remembered when we're stuck on what made up maybe 1% of their life, the situation surrounding their death,
Mm-hmm.
and we ignore all the years of love and laughter and experiences that we had with that person.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Good point. Good point. All right. So we talked about the gifts, the debt associated with these gifts. We
Yes.
talked about maybe cooking and, if the onus falls on one person,
Mhm.
um, how that can be troublesome. And we talked about loved ones that are no longer with us and how that can be a heavy burden as well. All right, hold on. Miss Boom said, I can't give up the tradition because now how will my daughter know and her kids know? The past hurt can't stop our future from knowing the truth.
And when I was talking about changing the tradition, I just mean temporarily
Mm,
until it's not something where you're enduring the holiday.
mm,
And so you take a couple, like when my mother got breast cancer, and she had two lumps in one breast, and went through chemo and went through treatment, and she was used to doing all the cooking and doing all that, and we said, if we're at mama's house, mama gonna try to get behind that stove.
mm,
And
mm,
so what we decided was, we there's a Gaylord Hotel in the Dallas area, and my two older brothers and I booked a bunch of rooms, and we did Christmas there. And
mm,
Gaylord Hotels does an incredible production for Christmas. If you have a Gaylord Hotel in your area, go check it out now, because it's a winter wonderland when you walk in there. Your kids would love it.
mm, mm.
And so my mother loved it, and we did that for like 3 years until she was out of harm's way, thank God. And now we're back to doing it at our houses.
Nice, 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 nice. Okay. So maybe alter the the tradition a little bit.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
we we become, sometimes what can happen in our grief, we can begin to allow the pain to be what identifies us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, and out of yeah, there is one in Orlando.
There is one E in Orlando.
Yeah. What can happen is we start to, I've had to give clients permission to let go of the pain, that's not
Mm,
disrespectful of your loved one. But we sometimes hold on to that pain because we don't want to disrespect their memory.
mm-hmm.
And if your loved one was here, that's the last thing they'd want you doing,
Yeah.
is holding on to that pain and losing joy. And they'd want you to say, look, I'm in a better place. I want you to be in a better place here on earth. Live your life, And
Mm-hmm.
so that's something that I try to get people to recognize, because they're like, they're having a good moment, they laugh, or they're feeling good, and they feel guilty. Like, whoa, it's been 6 months since mama passed. I can't have fun. And it's like, no, you
Mm-hmm.
can't. It, it,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. All right. So let me just do my station break. If you are just joining us, I am on with Dr. Ken Fowler. systemic effects, and we are talking about holiday stress. Holiday stress. Um, so yeah, this is good. Great food for thought. Great food for thought. So Tressa says permission to let go of anger or sometimes being free from trying to understand why.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we had the almighty mind, then you know we'd be part of the organization of the world, but that's that's not how it works. And so
Hmm.
we have to sometimes just allow ourselves to let let peace take over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's some people also that um the holidays is a lonely time for them.
I was gonna mention that next actually, because I think about the song "What Do the Lonely Do at Christmas."
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they usually go house to house and get a plate, but it's but
They were smart. They would.
yeah, but it can really be tough um, when you're lonely. You've gone through a divorce or a breakup, or you just simply don't have anyone in your life, and you see people, really celebrating connection and love and family,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it can really highlight what's not in your life. And
Yeah.
so I tell people, if you're feeling that, reach out. You
Hmm.
know, um, even though I'm traveling, I do Zoom sessions, and my daughter was like, "Dad, people are still wanting to see you while this is the holidays." And I said, "Yeah, baby." I said, "People still need help, even though there's a lot of the Christmas cheer going on.
Hmm.
And it's because they are truly in a place of, I need help right now."
Yeah.
and
So
and
Tressa asks, how important is faith in this process?
it is very important. And if you are a person of faith, then you need to really dig deep and see how you let your faith guide you.
Hmm.
And I remember growing up, a preacher was telling me, it was like, either you're gonna worry or you're gonna pray.
Mm.
And he said, don't be praying to God and then worrying about whether he's going to come through, because he's always showing you that.
Mm.
And so when you worry, you kind of saying, I don't know about you, God. I don't know if you really going to do it or not.
Mm.
And so pray and leave it in his hands and let it go. It's not going to look how we want it to look. It's not going to happen. Definitely not going to happen in the timing that we want it to happen.
Right.
But if you're a person of faith, that is that getting an understanding of faith and getting an understanding of what it's what it's not, and what it's not going to look like, and what it's going to feel like, and really letting go and saying, I'm going to turn this over to him.
Mm.
That that's a big deal.
Yeah, that is.
And so I tell people, take your problems, write it down, and say, okay, what are the things I need to do to address this? And then as you do those things, check them off. Okay, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that, I've
Hmm.
done that. Okay, there's nothing else I can do to impact that situation. So now I'm leaving that to the Almighty.
Right.
And so when you start to worry, you pick up your sheet and you go, okay, this is what I was worried about. So, well, I've done these 7 things.
Hmm.
There's nothing else I can do about it.
Nothing else you can do.
And so it's a reminder of um, our limitations. And many of us um, don't like to admit or accept that we have limitations.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. So what do you what do you recommend for the lonely?
I recommend, instead of allowing yourself to remain alone,
Hmm.
connect with people.
Okay.
This is a festive time. People are not going to say, "What you doing over here? Why you come?" I mean, people are like, no, people coming into town. Um, if let me tell you, if you have issues with family members, start working on resolving those.
Mm,
Start addressing them and saying, "Hey, you know what? I can't even remember what we fought about, but I do miss you. I do." One of the things for intimacy is vulnerability. You cannot
mhm.
have true intimacy without vulnerability.
Right.
And so we sometimes have to step out of but sometimes we want to be right. Sometimes we want to, no, no, no. They tried me. Mm-mm. No, but like, boy, everybody over there with the Christmas tree and eating food. But I'm going to show them.
Mm,
And it's like, who are you showing?
right. What you showing them?
Exactly. And
Mhm.
what happens, that sets the stage for you to marinate in sadness.
Yeah.
And when we do that, that's a slippery slope for depression,
Hmm.
for suicide, for all of those things.
Right.
It's unfortunate that the suicide rate does peak during the holidays.
Hmm. Yes. Well, speaking of such, um, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number is 988. So if folks are in crisis, they can call or text that number 24/7, 365.
Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
and for all of us, if you know someone who's alone or they've been struggling, this is the time while you're off work, this is the time while you have a little extra time to check in on those folks.
Yes.
Go by their house. Say, hey, we came by to bring you over to get something to eat, or
Mm-hmm.
we want you to join us. We're all going to the movies. That. Let me tell you, that morsel of kindness sometimes will grow an entire field of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Absolutely.
we have to sometimes slow down and think about those folks.
Mm-hmm.
Say, wow, okay. And so I'm having a little get together. And there's some people that I invited who I know are going through things.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to let them know that, hey, the people that love you, the people that care about you, come on through.
Yeah.
And one person's like, I'm so surprised I got an invitation.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah, sometimes just that little check-in can make a world of difference because, especially if they are just with themselves and hearing whatever is going through their mind,
hmm
which may be, suicidal ideation or thoughts and, that sort of thing. So,
we get into what I call a negative narrative, a
hmm,
story we tell about ourselves.
yes,
And so when we're down and we're sad, we're like, everything's terrible. We start painting everything with a gray brush.
right.
And it's like, ooh, look, I just got cut off in traffic. That's because nobody respects me. And it's
Hmm.
like, I mean, you start just correlating all these things into this narrative that leads to you spiraling.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, so you got to
Yeah,
that narrative,
yeah.
by what you're listening to. We receive so many messages on a daily, right?
hmm
In terms of what we hear and what we see. And some of that stuff just goes by, we don't really fully process it, but some of it does stick.
Yeah,
And so, and a lot of it is negative.
yeah.
A lot of it is negative.
And things happen. Things happen in life that bring negativity. I mean, like the Cowboys lost to the Jaguars, and I was like, and I received lots of negativity, but I refused to let it take me down. I mean,
You was you was holding strong.
and I was there and uh, at the game, and Joe Bullitt was at the game, and he's a old Hayden Steeler fan, and he was talking noise, and I'm like, Lord, but
And he
But
showing up called you out on Monday.
oh yeah, I heard. I was at the chiropractor. He was like, somebody check on Ken Fowler. I'm like, Lord have mercy. But you know,
They praying for you.
yeah. But you know, if I was in a depressed state, I could have spiraled and been like how everything is terrible, you know.
Oh, for the
And
Cowboys?
people, when you're depressed, you will take and bring things into your narrative to support the fact that your life is terrible.
Gotcha.
Even a football game. I mean, it's and so you have to really think about yeah, see, here they go. They already trying to send me into a depression. I tell you what, they have
Listen,
no love out there.
he is a serious Cowboy fan. Okay, he is from Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay,
But that's
Professor
okay.
said
We
it's
play the
real.
Eagles. We play the Eagles on Christmas Eve, so hopefully Christmas will be a better situation.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. So, your recommendation is to be around other people.
Yeah, reach out. This is a connecting time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I challenge every one of you to identify someone that you know you need to reach out to that you haven't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just one.
Yeah.
That one person say, you know what, I have not reached out. I mean, my saying it, I think of a cousin that I need to reach out to
Mm-hmm.
who's having a hard time this year.
Mm-hmm.
2022 was not good for him.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, as soon as I hit dirt in Dallas, I'm gonna make sure I reach out to him.
For sure. So Trista said, think about Twitch. Think about Twitch. Right. So, and what I'm sensing from her comment is that, Twitch appeared to not have a problem or a care in the world, if you will.
Yeah. He could mask. He had a mask that he was wearing, and he was dancing and being fun and doing all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And man, unaddressed mental health only gets worse.
Yeah.
There's no other. Oh well, some people, they get struck by lightning and then they all of a sudden are good. No, it's
Mm-hmm.
unaddressed mental health only gets worse, and
Yeah.
so you have to hopefully have the connection with that person to be able to say, hey, I see you struggling.
Yeah.
I see past your mask.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to go with you to your therapy appointment, or I'm going to do some things that are going to force you to focus and do something about what's going on with you.
Mm-hmm. So Latressa asks, is this increase in suicide amongst African Americans a new thing?
The numbers have increased much more than they have been. And some people have many different ideas about that.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm talking to my old school colleagues, kind of the consensus is that, the level of resiliency that was built in the childhood that we had in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s is not the same for these kids who are newer age.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't understand struggle. They don't. And so, and because we've done better as a people, we've tried to create and give our kids more than what we had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a noble thing, but also we also have to keep them diligent about what it takes and having perspective and allowing them to experience and go through things so they can learn the skills that we learned when we were trying to figure it out.
Right.
And so we keep our kids from experiencing or going through particular things, and then they leave our home and they have no idea how to manage this thing that seems gigantic to them, but really it's just a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so some people believe because we are doing better as a people and our kids are having better lives, they're not gaining the resiliency skills to um, be able to make it through some of the things that they're facing, and you're seeing an increase in suicide.
Yeah.
Um, some people would argue that social media and those kind of things play a big part,
Mm-hmm.
um, because now it's not bullying you at school.
Right.
It's getting on social media, and a couple of you know a couple of attacks, a couple of things that start passing around the school. The next thing you know, it doesn't take a month; it takes 2 days.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, we've just watched politically how people get destroyed
Mm-hmm.
with social media. Donald Trump was a master at just destroying people with social media who he was running against.
Right.
And so you think about that and you think about the power of it, and you
Mm-hmm.
go, man. And so we really need to be paying attention to our kids, their social media activity and what's going on there. Um, I'm not of the genre of, oh, they deserve their space and uh, the,
Mm-hmm.
the not when it comes to social media and the internet.
Yeah.
Um, because there are people that normally would not have any access to your kids that now can gain access.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, it's important to understand how do we deal with that? How do we negate that? But I've seen, I've even on college campuses, I've seen where social media has just done some kids in, and they end up, spiraling and failing out of school.
Mm. Yeah. The predators are so um strategic, intentional, and
Hmm.
they know all the buzzwords, and the youth oftentimes are so just trusting, and
Hmm.
wanting to be liked and loved, and so on
Right.
and so forth. And so, yeah.
And so I think that's why those are some of the reasons you see an uptick of suicide in the African American community.
Hmm.
Um, and it's the holiday stress. If you're already teetering with depression and anxiety, um, the holidays can be, a tipping point.
For sure. For sure. For sure.
And especially when you have families where you have unresolved issues,
Hmm.
where your drunk Uncle Johnny comes and he's like, you know, hey, you know what? That really ain't your daddy, but I didn't say it, and it's like, and all of a sudden, um,
So I forgot about that point, but that was another point that I was going to make, was that some of our family members we don't really care for,
mhm.
because of they get a little libation in them, and they just you know
I I tell people in the same sense, if I say reach out, there's you have to teach people how to love you.
mm-hmm.
And when you have family members who are constantly abusing the access they have to you because they are considered family, you have to teach them about what it takes for them to continue to have that access.
Yes.
Because
Right.
there's some family members, I tell people, you have to love that person with a stiff arm.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you stiff arm somebody, okay, I'm still connected with you. I just got you at a distance.
Right.
But
Right.
see, if I relax this arm and let you closer, you do internal damage to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to decide that that's no longer okay.
Indeed. Dr. Packer said, and holidays can be stressful even under desirable situations.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
And what you will find is that every relationship is about managing anxiety between two people.
Mm-hmm.
People who are comfortable, people who grew up in high anxiety environments are comfortable in high anxiety environments. And so
Mm.
you will see them come into an environment that's easygoing, everybody's having a good time, and they are not comfortable. And
Mm.
so they begin to consciously and subconsciously and sometimes consciously create anxiety to get the environment more anxiety ridden.
Mm-hmm.
And once
Because that's where they live. That's their
yeah,
wheelhouse.
exactly. And once it gets there, guess what they do? They go,
Ooh.
that's good.
Right.
This is
Oh my
now this is the environment I'm good in. And
Oh my
so
good.
now they've
Okay.
gotten everybody, yeah, abusing that access, and everybody's here. And it's like how, and then you're sitting there like, how did this event end up turning out like this?
Right.
And
Right.
they're
Oh.
like, well, I don't know, sure. And I'm like, I know. You know
You
what
keep
I'm saying?
on a phone, huh?
Yeah. And so, once I got old enough to speak to people in my family who behave that way,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'd call them out.
Mm.
I'd use humor, but I was cutting them. I was like,
Mm.
"Ooh, no, I know you're not commenting on my mama's house. You got a house you can go ahead and get in your car and go to." And they're like, "Ooh, yeah, so crazy, no." But I was letting them know. I was like, "Keep on."
You saying it with a smile
Yeah,
too.
I said it was my like, or ooh, your sister, making a comment about my cousin. So she ain't got no man. I was like, last time I checked, wasn't no man at your house either.
Ooh, ooh.
And they be like, "Oh, he's so crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm crazy. Keep it up. We're
Mm.
not doing that to people in here."
Indeed, indeed. All right. Well, speaking of a man, so Michael Cork wants to know: Are the holidays a good time to bring your new boo around? Mm.
Well, it can be because your family's in a more relaxed situation. They are going to be kind of judged. Also, it depends where you met your boo.
Mm.
Um, and if you met your boo um, in a nice establishment, and they know how to present themselves, that's great. Um, if you met your boo in a local alley, then you might need to rethink whether that person's ready to meet your family. so, so I tell people, know your family. Don't set people up for failure.
Listen, and I was just thinking, he talking about Mercedes from Magic City. I was like, if you met her at the strip club,
Yeah, I was trying to keep it PG. That's why I said the alley.
so
You know,
Michael Court gonna be messy.
yeah,
That's a side of him that maybe some people just don't know. But he gonna be
yeah,
messy. Okay.
yeah.
For
So
the sake of conversation.
yeah, you may want to see how Mercedes does in a smaller gathering before you. Oh yeah, unrecognized.
I'm gonna come on your show clowning, sir, okay?
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I tell people think about think about whether you really want your family's approval,
Mm-hmm.
because if your family has not approved of anybody that you've brought around, it's magical thinking to think that they're going to bring somebody around and, oh, this is going to be the magical one.
Right.
And so you may say, this is not the arena where, because when they're able to get together and they feed off each other, some families become piranha.
Mm.
And so they're like, ooh, we're going to eat him up or eat her up. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, she has 3 older brothers, you know, and so she brings guys around. I remember she brought this one guy that was, I guess he had proposed to her or something, and they were she was graduating, and he showed up with one red rose. And I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, "Okay." And I said, "Tell me a little about yourself." He's like, "I'm really not sure what I want to do." And I was like, "You're not sure what you're gonna do?" I'm like, "Do you know my sister? Because she has lived a pretty privileged life, catered life, and for you not knowing how you're gonna provide, that might be an issue for you, man. I'm just trying to tell you for myself." And I'm like, and if that showing up with one rose represents your financial situation, you might need to, you know, get your stuff
Reevaluate.
together before you start
Reevaluate.
proposing, And so everybody's like, "Oh man, y'all own him so hard." Uh, we got one red rose and no
No
plan.
plan.
Exactly. So, um,
He owing too.
we try to be nice, but we're gonna definitely, my sister knew that he was gonna get grilled. So you got to make sure your person's ready for it. And if you're not ready for your relationship to be challenged that way, then maybe the holidays is not the right time to bring that person around.
Well said. Well said. All right. Very good. Well, is there anything else you want to add in closing?
Well, I just want I've seen ever since we came out of COVID, there's this kind of nastiness in our communication and how we treat each other and those kind of things. And I want all of us who are sensible and sane to make an effort to spread joy. And I know it sounds corny, I know it sounds commercial, but really, I'm I sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm going to the store. I'm gonna make 3 people smile while I'm at the store.
Mm.
And so I'll see a older lady, and I'll be like, "That is a lovely dress, ma'am." And she's like, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, I made this whole thing, but thank you." I want to make somebody's day. I want to show some kindness. And if we
Mm.
all decide that we're gonna put 10% kindness out there, um, hopefully that'll start changing the tide, because the way people are communicating and interacting now, it's disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Indeed.
taking in this holiday season and understand what it's really about, um, it's about love, kindness, sharing, um, patience,
Yeah.
all of those things.
Okay. So I did get a text question that I just noticed,
Mhm.
which was, why are we giving credibility to social media? And how do we begin to learn how to change the authority from social media to ourselves?
Um, it can be so addictive for some folks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know folks who post and they'll be in my office and they're like, and such didn't even like it. Well, they liked it, but they didn't do a heart like they did on other people's stuff. They just did a like. And I'm like, you're
Right.
scrutinizing it to that level?
I think Tressa said something. Oh, it's also being addicted to virtual approval.
Oh, yeah. It's how many likes did you get? Did people da da? And my wife will say to me, she's like, "You don't post much. You post every now and then." And I'm like, because it's not something I turn to need for validation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, if I remember, and I'll have stuff, and I have pictures, and she'll be like, "Are you gonna post?" I'm like, "Yeah, I will," but I'm not like, "Oh, I need to post so everybody can see what I'm doing. Everybody can show me love because I was doing this." You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like sometimes I want to share those things in my life. Sometimes I don't, but I'm not making sure I'm sharing all those things in order to get people's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see yourself doing that, you have to take a time out. And I tell people, take a 30-day time out from social media.
Mm.
Just say, I'm not gonna post, I'm not gonna comment for 30 days. I'm not gonna interact on social media.
I think some people would literally lose their minds.
Yeah, exactly. But it's and the fact that that makes people pause says if that's a problem. If you hear me say that and you go, oh no, he really pushing me, that means you're on there too much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only a snapshot. Let me tell you, I can take a picture of me shooting a basketball, and you could be like, look at Dr. Fowler shooting the basketball. Boy, he is something else on that court.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a snapshot of me shoot. Guess what? It didn't go in. And my handles are not all that great. I play good defense, but I'm not a great basketball player. But social media, I can make you think that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important that people are really putting out personas and pushing agendas of how they want people to see them.
Yeah.
But as a therapist, let me tell you, I've been doing this 23 years, and the majority of what you see on there is what people want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
And that behind those things, there are things that everybody's dealing with.
Yeah.
So don't, some people get on there and they look at what people are doing, they look at things and they're like, my life is terrible. Look at them. They're jet setting across the world and da, 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 da. And you don't know what issues those people are dealing with.
Right.
But I do, because a lot of them come in my office.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll see them and I'm like, ooh, they're really trying to put a good face out there.
Yeah. So Latressa said, why are we compelled to share our whole life? I always ask, if you had that much time to take pics, then you were not present in the moment.
It's become a phenomenon of shrinking the world.
Mm-hmm.
The world's gotten smaller with technology. And so now my friends in Connecticut, I can see what's going on with them and keep up with their kids. My friends in Dallas, I can do that. And if you're using it as a thing to keep up and see how to keep up with people that you care about and what's going on in their lives, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But when you start using it for a mode of validation that
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay and that I'm accepted and that I've made it or whatever, um, then you're in an unhealthy relationship with social media.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for answering that text question that came
You're welcome.
in. Indeed. All right. So, how can folks connect with you?
You can email me at kfowler@systemiceffects.com. You
Mm-hmm.
can call me. Um, my cell phone is my business line, so I believe in letting people hit me on the hip, and so my number is 850-212-6873.
And he does too. Six. Say it again.
850-212-6873.
I will add that.
And so, and look, even if you're like, okay, I can't afford Dr. Fowler, I can't pay out of pocket, because my rate's $150 an hour. What I tell people is that people call me all the time. They're like, oh, I just want to use my insurance, and I'll say, okay, well, here's some things you want to think about when you're looking for a therapist. And some people will say, can I send you my provider list to see if you know anybody on that list? And I'll look at it and I'll say, I know these two people, I recommend them. And so, look, there's enough work for everybody. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm out here like, no, I'm gonna let you struggle and hopefully you'll call back. No, I want you to get the help. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and there's a I did my doctoral hours at FSU in the PhD program for marriage and family therapy, and the we did our clinical hours at the clinic, the marriage and family therapy clinic,
Mm-hmm.
and the number for the clinic is 850-644-1588. And this clinic, they have, it's open to the public. A lot of people think it's just for the students at FSU. No, it's on Jefferson Street. It's open to the public. And they have a sliding scale based off of your income and your number of dependents. And so to be in the PhD program, you had to show up with 500 hours of client contact hours. So
Mm.
people have to understand, to be a therapist, you really only need a master's. You don't need a PhD.
Okay.
And so getting a PhD in therapy, you're getting an advanced degree.
Yeah.
And so you're getting people who are already trained to do the work and working on an advanced degree and are being supervised by PhDs on their cases. And so it's a economical way to get some good quality therapy if financially that's a component of your decision making.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So Dr. Jones said, awesome job. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you and your family. And to all
Same
the
to you, Dr. Jones. We appreciate you and we look forward to seeing you guys soon.
indeed, indeed, indeed. Michael Cork said, still remember meeting Dr. Ken at KFC. I was eating and he just came over and started talking to me. He really lives what he talks about. Yes.
Yeah.
I can imagine that he does do that. Right.
Hey, I'm going to enjoy life and I'm going to enjoy people. That's where.
Indeed. Indeed. That's what it's all about. All right. Tressa, thank you, Dr. Ken and Nicole. You talking about Dr. Nicole? No, it's just Nicole, no doctor.
She's just prophesying.
Is that what it is? You know what?
Mhm.
A couple of people have done that this year. I don't know though.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. All right. So hopefully you all have found this conversation to be beneficial. If you have, let us know. Some of you already have. Give us a thumbs up, a heart, or something, and let us know that you have enjoyed this. And also share this with someone else. Share it with a family member, a friend. Let them know that this is beneficial and you think it would be beneficial to them. Oh, Tressa said receive it. Okay.
Well, Nicole, thank you for having me on again. I always enjoy it, and you call me whenever you call. I'm gonna answer the call. So
I appreciate you so much. I really do. Court, talk about Minister Nicole.
yeah.
Woo, y'all. Anyway, all
Mhm.
right. My sister's clapping it up for us. Appreciate it. For those of you who have not subscribed to the Conversations with Nicole YouTube channel, I invite you to do so. Subscribing is supporting, and we need all the support we can get. And we have a contest going right now. I have more than 100 shows that I did this year. We are asking folks to play one CWN video every day in the month of December in its entirety. And the person with the most views, most comments will win a CWN swag bag.
All
Hmm.
right then. I hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So trying to get these views up, trying to reach 4,000 viewing hours on YouTube. So some of y'all on break. Y'all ain't got nothing to do. It's about to be cold. Y'all gonna just be sitting in the house. So
Yeah.
play them videos.
Awesome. Yeah, show support, show love. I appreciate all of you all that tuned in today. And
Mhm.
I wish all of you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and safe travels.
Indeed, indeed. Yes. Merry Christmas to you all, and we'll see y'all next week.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.